What is good? What is up, y'all? It's your boy here, Jay, back and better than ever with another episode of Padres Banter. The Padres continue to struggle as they're swept at home by the last place Baltimore Orioles, and I don't know how to feel about it. We're going to go ahead and break it down all right here on Padres Banter. Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Padres Banter, episode 2 to be exact. Not too soon after episode 1, but that being said, got right here after work with my gear and said, let's hop on this pod and talk about what we need to talk about at hand, which is the Padres going ahead getting swept by the last place Baltimore Orioles. It's just embarrassing. There's no way to really, put it other than that. It's just embarrassing. So we're going to go ahead and break it down all right here on this episode 2 of Padres Banter. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The Padres struggles continue as they are swept by the Orioles at home, losing Game 3 7-5. San Diego now falls to an underwhelming 18-27 in interleague play and 2-9 in their last 3 series versus AL opponents. Cortez was absolutely shelled by the 21st ranked offense when it comes to average, y'all. 21st ranked offense, giving up a leadoff home run and back-to-back home runs to first Colton Cowser, 3-run home run, then Kobe Mayo for a solo shot, and then Alex Jackson for a solo shot to cap it off, ending his start with a final line of 2 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks, and 4 home runs, only throwing 57 pitches. It was just a bad outing for Cortez. He's been really good. I'll give him his flowers. He's been really good with us since he's been traded to us or since we picked him up. But tonight was just not his night. It was just not his night. In my last podcast, said that, I hope, we can find a left-handed pitcher to go ahead and add to our rotation for, come playoff time. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. We need to win the ball games that we need to win. We should not be losing to the last place Baltimore Orioles in the AL East. They aren't the worst last place team in the league, but we shouldn't be losing to them. If we are the team that we think we are, we should not be losing to them the way that we are. Not hitting in the beginning half of the game and then turning it on late is not the answer to this. We cannot act nonchalant going into the playoffs. We can't act like we've been there before. And I think that's an identity crisis right now with this team because we went there to the NLC. We didn't even go anywhere. We went to the NLCS of all places. It's a very great feat. But at the end of the day, we can't act like we've been there and done that. We have to put the pedal to the metal, y'all. And I know the team knows that, and I'm not going to press the issue with that. But at the end of the day, it's frustrating to watch when you know what the capabilities of this team and the San Diego Padres are, and they're not doing it. Flat out embarrassing. Just a terrible outing to say the least. Never had command of any of his pitches, leaving cutters up and fastballs high and over the plate. It was just batting practice for the Baltimore Orioles. Especially with the below average fastball that he has, you have to locate. But like I said, they were teeing off. He wasn't locating. It was an issue that probably the Milwaukee Brewers saw and why they released him, and the Yankees saw and why they released him, and why, there was a ton of issues with that. But at the end of the day, I trust Ruben Niebla in the things that he can fix in a pitcher. Nestor Cortez, and I believe the words that he was saying when he was interviewed in one of the dugout interviews by Don and Mud about the process and the progress that he's going through with Ruben Niebla and how he's building a relationship and how he's really, starting to get the things that Ruben is saying. So I'm really, I'm going to take him for his word on that. And, today, obviously, or last night rather, wasn't, or yesterday, it wasn't last night, but, yesterday wasn't what it should have been. But at the end of the day, I know I can believe in Ruben Niebla, and I can believe in what he has going. And hopefully Nestor can turn a corner and really pitch well so that he can make the playoff roster come playoff time. But like I said, I don't want to get ahead of myself because truthfully, we need to win the games that we need to win, like I said. There was a couple positives ultimately. Not much, but we again out-hit our opponent 10-8. The fight in later innings after the team, seemed to be dead. So that's awesome there. Still too late to try and make things happen, though. And I know the team knows that. Ramon Laureano continuing to show out and be our most valuable piece and show us personally why he has been such the valuable piece that he is in adding to our lineup at the trade deadline. I think he has been the MVP of the trade deadline for us specifically, and he's really been the MVP of our team right now. Doing everything he can to keep this team in grasp of a win. We also again out hit our opponent 10-8, but we couldn't drive home runs. And if you pay attention here, you see we are the 24th, right? I'm showing you guys a graphic. We are the 24th worst ranked offense when it comes to RBIs. So that kind of paints a picture, and it speaks volume as to why our run production is so inconsistent and why we can't get runs across the board and why we scored 12 runs one game and we only scored 2 the next game. We scored 7 one game, 0 the next. It sometimes doesn't make sense, but that paints a picture and tells you, it speaks volumes as to why we are seeing what we're seeing on the field and on our TVs. And Mason Miller recorded the second Padres immaculate inning since 2000. Brian Lawrence was the last person to do so on June 12th of 2002, again against the Baltimore Orioles. So that is awesome to see as well. Not to mention, not just the immaculate inning, which is awesome to see and very rare, and something that's very rare in Padres history, obviously. But Ramon Laureano, on top of that, robbing a home run. I didn't even say that when I said his little piece, and he's been the MVP of our team. Robbed a home run today. So, those are the positives. I think, we out-hit the other team again, but didn't drive in the runs. We really, had some fight towards the end. Ramon Laureano robbing a home run and really being the catalyst of our team right now. And Mason Miller, like I said, the immaculate inning that he had, it's just incredible to see. I mean, like I said, it's super rare to see an immaculate inning. I think there's only, a little less than 200 in the MLB history. So, to see an immaculate inning is more rare than seeing, a no-hitter or anything of that nature. So, pretty cool to see. It's like a shooting star, but congrats to Mason Miller for doing that. But yeah, like I said, those are the positives, guys. And also the fact that I'm happy that Manny and Tatis also got their home runs. But as a team, we need to start continuing to swing at better pitches throughout the game. But optimism. We can't be down. We can't be down as much as I'm, pointing out all the negatives. We have to have some optimism. We have to continue to move forward and really instill trust in this team. I believe in this team still. I don't know about you guys. Yes, there's a bunch of things that have happened, recently when it comes to injuries and when it comes, to just bad luck. But at the end of the day, I still believe in this team, and I truthfully think that we still have a championship or, a really good playoff caliber team to go far and make some noise. We still need to just keep our heads. It's really right between the ears, and I think that's really what this team needs to figure out. But it's really not looking optimistic with the type of baseball that they're playing right before the playoffs, which is not good. You don't want to play this type of baseball right before the playoffs because, truthfully, you know what kind of team you are, and that's not the team that we are. We're not that team that is going to, that's playing right now. We're not that team, and I hope that we, change the narrative and really change the way that we play right before playoff time. When we start to hit the ball, we start to pitch a little bit better, and we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. But looking forward towards the Rockies series, we have a 3-game set against the Rockies, and to be honest, which is at the Rockies, and to be honest, looking for a series sweep. I mean, it may sound, a little bit out there and maybe asking for a ton from these guys, but it's needed. It is needed. We need a sweep. We need these games. And at the end of the day, it's still one win at a time, one game at a time. Keep that mentality of not going too far ahead of ourselves, right? We do want that sweep, but at the end of the day, one game at a time, one win at a time. We play the Rockies 7 out of the next 10 games, and 4 of them are at home right after this 3-game set in Colorado. So we need to go ahead and capitalize against the Rockies. We sit 2.5 games back in the standings, but it is not time to panic, y'all. With 22 games left, everything is still right in front of us, but I'll see you guys Friday when the Padres go ahead and head to Colorado for Game 1 when Kyle Freeland is expected to start. Also, guys, did you see what happened to Kyle Freeland? That was kind of nuts. But I'm not sure, if he's going to be starting. He's expected to start. But due to his 1 game suspension, I'm not sure how that works for pitchers. If it's also like a 1 start suspension, not really sure how it works because obviously he's already played a game after that whole thing that happened between him and Rafael Devers and Matt Chapman and the San Francisco Giants over in Colorado 2 nights ago. You guys go ahead and pay attention to that was crazy. But not sure how it works. So Kyle Freeland's expected to start, but like I said, I'm not sure how it works. We'll see what happens. But we got to keep our optimism, guys. We got to keep our eyes forward and just continue to just, pray that this team continues to turn it around. And I think they'll do so. But at the end of the day, I'll see you guys Friday when the Padres go ahead and head to Colorado. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. A quick little episode for you guys right after my work, and I felt like it was needed, especially right after this sweep that the Baltimore Orioles handed us some brooms. But at the end of the day, appreciate you guys tuning in to the second episode of Padres Banter. But we'll be doing this a lot more, y'all. We out.